My name is Christina Gasparetto. I work at Duke, where I lead the myeloma program and Duke University Medical Center. And today I had the opportunity to present the results of a phase 1b/2 study of the combination of Selinexor, Daratumumab, Dexamethasone. Selinexor is a new drug for myeloma, has not been approved yet, but is a new class of drug. Is targeting actually a protein. It's called the exportin 1, which is a protein that can be highly expressed in cancer cells and also in myeloma cells. And what this protein does allows cancer cells to evade apoptosis, to die pretty much. And so the Selinexor is also a selective inhibitor of this protein. And so what it does, it pretty much brings back the cells to apoptosis, to cell death. And this is a very simple way to explain the mechanism of action, of course. And this protein is highly expressed, as I mentioned, in myeloma cells. In fact, a high level of this protein correlates with the poor prognosis, with development of resistance. And we know that Selinexor works as a single agent in heavily pretreated patients. In the study called the STORM study, it was given in combination with low-dose dexamethasone in heavily pretreated patients prior exposed to bortezomib, lenalidomide, carfilzomib, pomalidomide, and also daratumumab. And the response rate in this heavily pretreated population was about 26%. Which is amazing to have a signal in this population of patients. And daratumumab works as a single agent too, with overall response in patients also prior exposed to IMiDs, to proteasome inhibitor, of about 29%. So we combine these two very potent drugs in the combination, the Selinexor, daratumumab, dexamethasone, and actually this combination was part of a larger study. It's called the STOMP study. In the STOMP study, we combine Selinexor with different backbone therapies for myeloma. We combine it with daratumumab, with carfilzomib, with pomalidomide, with lenalidomide, with bortezomib. And so I presented the results of this combination with the daratumumab, and up to date we enrolled about 28 patients. And one of the objectives of this earlier phase study was to determine the maximum tolerated dose of this combination of these drugs given together, and then determine the recommended phase 2 dose. We enrolled 28 patients. They were relapsed refractory. They had to fail at least 3 prior lines of therapy, or they were refractory to proteasome inhibitor and IMiDs. And we enrolled 3 patients on the first cohort of the study. We were trying to determine the maximum tolerated doses. So 3 patients received the Selinexor twice a week at the dose of 60 milligrams. But soon after, we realized that given in this way, twice a week was too toxic. And so we enrolled the rest of the patients on the next cohort, where Selinexor was given at a slightly higher dose of 100 milligrams, but only once a week, in combination with the Dexa, only once a week, and the Daratumumab, which is also given weekly. So it was a weekly administration, and then the Daratumumab is given every other week and then every month. And in terms of toxicity, side effects, the drug we know from the STORM study, the main toxicity of these drugs are gastrointestinal toxicity, like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And in this combination, we were surprised to see that when the Selinexor was given weekly, some of these side effects were mild, grade 1, grade 2, so generally manageable, more manageable, so there were no, the worst toxicity. And of course, we've seen also some constitutional toxicity, weight loss, some fatigue, low sodium in some patients, but that was pretty much it. And then in what we call the hematologic toxicity, we have seen, decrease of platelets, thrombocytopenia, some anemia, some neutropenia, which they're very common, unfortunately, particularly after patients have received multiple lines of therapy. But these were the main toxicities that we have observed with this combination. In terms of response, if you remember, I told you as a single agent they both work, but combined together, the overall response for all patients that were never exposed to Daratumumab before was 79%, which is incredible response, with about 1/3 of patients achieving actually what we call the very good partial response, where we have at least a 90% reduction of the myeloma, so a pretty deep response. If we take in account also the minor response, the overall response was actually up to 88%. So an incredible, overall response for this population of patients. The median time to achieve a response was about 1 month. And we have a follow-up of a little bit longer than 7 months, and the majority of patients who had at least a good response, a partial response or more, the median time of remaining on therapy was about 7 months, 7.3 months. In terms of what we call the progression-free survival, the duration of response, we haven't reached it yet, so it's very early, and we have half of the patients are still on treatment. So I think the conclusion, we determined the maximum tolerated dose in this combination, which is the recommended phase 2 dose, 100 milligrams of Selinexor. And the side effects, surprisingly, when the Selinexor was given in combination once a week, they were actually manageable. Patients were having more toxicity at the beginning of treatment, and then were able to start to tolerate the drug much better, dose adjustment, dose reduction, of course, and supportive care. But we have some patients continuing on therapy for several months, so for more than 1 year actually. And we have achieved a very high rate of responses, with some deep responses in this subpopulation of patients, and durable, which was, another good outcome of this trial. So I think in the future we need to investigate this combination more, and all the combination with the Selinexor is definitely one of the new drugs coming out in the world of myeloma very soon, I hope.